Get Gutsy, episode number 239 with Rebecca Robbins. Do it anyway.
Welcome to Get Gutsy. I'm your host, Jenny Fennig, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. A cutting-edge show blending business and spirituality, Get Gutsy serves up a potent blend of stories, lessons, and tips to help you make a massive impact in the world through your soul's work and your inspired life. No more going it alone, no more excuses. The world needs more brave women saying yes to leadership. Are you with me? Good. Let's get gutsy now.
Hey there. Woo! Getting this intro recorded for you while it feels like we've got Grand Central Station going on in our home. I'm hoping that my dog Winnie doesn't bark. We have some people out front of our house. For the last few winters, I think this will be the third one, we've had an ice skating rink installed in the front yard. And so there's snow everywhere on the ground, and it seems like the ice skating rink is in uh, progress, all the things. And then we've got one of our kids' tutors coming in just a few moments. So I've got this little window of time, this pocket to get this intro done for you. I want to get this episode out. It's such a good one. And, that's so much of what our business is. We've got these pockets of time to get things accomplished. We have these spaces of it's a few minutes, a few hours to make some magic. And that is my deepest wish for you, that you work with the time that you've got. You're smart with it. You know what are the wisest moves you can make to deeply impact your people. All right. And that is really what I'm about. And that is what we're focused on, the smartest use of your energy in the most incredible place on the internet. It's called Magic Makers Collective. I want to make sure you know we are in open enrollment right now. Applications are open for this incredible virtual collective. And if you have not checked it out yet, check it out, because we're closing the doors on registration this week. It's such an awesome spot. We've been welcoming in women from all over the world over the last several days, and it's been super fun. It's a mystical blend of training, coaching, and community. Magic Makers Collective is for you if you're ready to grow your impact, money, and time freedom with ease. This is a membership, so you can join for a few months, you can join for a season, you can stay longer, you can sign up for the full year if you know you want to go all in. When you do, you'll get a ticket to a retreat I'm leading in May 2020 called the Trailblazer Retreat. It's going to be sweet, and it will feel like a treat, and it is a retreat, and it's called the Trailblazer Retreat. Anyway, go check it out, magicmakerscollective.com. Feel into it and submit your application. We're going to have such a powerful journey together, and I can't wait for you to meet the other women. I can't wait to meet you. magicmakerscollective.com. That is where my energy has been over the last, few weeks. I've really just been getting this ready to share with my community. And if you've been a listener of this podcast, you most likely are a very, very strong fit for what we're doing in Magic Makers Collective. All right, so my favorite part of my work is the women I get to work with. That's it. I have the most amazing women who walk through my doors, whether they join a program, whether they join this Magic Makers Collective, whether I get to work one-on-one with them, whether I meet them live at one of my retreats. I just am so impressed by your intelligence and your devotion to your craft. And this woman I'm going to introduce you to today, her name is Rebecca Robbins, and she is completely dedicated to her craft. She came into one of my programs earlier in the year. I was blown away by her. She shows up, she asks good questions, she is serious about doing her thing, not only with honoring her craft, but building a business, helping people with this craft. You'll hear in the conversation how, she really got her business off the ground working locally, which is where how a lot of women do it. And then she fell deeply in love with personal development, started seeing the possibilities with online marketing, having an online business, and extending her message a lot wider than just in her local community. And that's how a lot of this starts for you all, is that you're doing your thing locally. Then you get this download going, wait a second, I can do this. I could have an online component. I could have a program. I could have a course. I could work with people who don't live close to me, because I can work with them over Zoom or over Skype or over the phone. That's honestly what it was for me. It's been this evolution. I've been in the online space for over a decade now, which blows my mind. And, some of you are just getting started in that realm. And if you are, great. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to help you here. So when you tune in today, you're going to meet Rebecca Robbins. She found her calling as a speech-language pathologist. She works primarily with children on the autism spectrum and children with ADHD. And you'll hear that she's carved her own path by working with families in this specialized niche market. And her genius is to teach parents how to set up a therapy system, really how to be their children's or their child's therapist, all right, and working with them. And Rebecca works with the parents and with their children in their home, and she is getting this out there in a group format. She does this in her local area, and now she's bringing it online. And so you're going to hear about her journey, you're going to hear about her passion, and you're also going to hear how she decided to take that big leap into entrepreneurship despite the fear and uncertainty that so often comes with this decision. I know you're going to get a tremendous amount of value out of this conversation. And you're going to hear if you or anyone you know has a child who would benefit from this, or if you are, you have a friend whose child would benefit from what Rebecca's doing. You can hear how you can get support with the work that she is doing. Enjoy this episode. Enjoy these final weeks of the year, of the decade. It's a very, very potent time. We're coming up to the solstice in a matter of days in the Northern Hemisphere. It's very, very dark. The days are quite short, and that is just conjuring up a really interesting energy right now. I encourage you to ground down. Feel yourself connected. I knew that was going to happen. Winnie has let me know that the tutor is here, which means, Winnie, can you chill? We're going to go now, and you're going to hear this episode with Rebecca Robbins. I just have to laugh. You're going to hear this episode with Rebecca Robbins on Do It Anyway. Enjoy. I feel like we need to have that song on. Who let the dogs out? Woo, 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 woo. Who let the dogs out? Woo, 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 woo. Who let the dogs out? Woo. Okay, anyway, Do It Anyway with Rebecca Robbins.
Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be with you today. Y'all, if you're watching the video, Rebecca has this really incredible backdrop situation going on. You told me what that was again. It's like, tell me what it is. It's so pretty.
Okay. Well, and I also have a very funny story about it. It's just a room divider, and it actually has two sides, and you can't really tell, but it's a big tree, and all four seasons are represented on both sides. So, like, this is, I can't really, so winter's like down here. I don't know if you can really tell. And I think this is more like summer and spring, and then fall is down here. And on the other side, it's more of like a I probably should have the other side for the season we're in right now. It's more of like a circular, like almost like the tree is like closed in. Like this side is more like open, like reminds me more of spring, summer. And the other side is more like closed in. But all the same things, like flowery and all the four seasons. And I use it as a backdrop. So, you know, when I make my videos and whatnot, the audience gets to see this and not like my bookshelf. So, but I sit in a chair on wheels, and I think that there's a slant on my floor. So one day when I was recording a live video, of course, I rolled backwards into the screen and completely knocked it over.
Yeah, the hazards of these videos that we do and conducting calls. Yeah, people don't realize this is really freaking hard. It's like hard work. Well, it works beautifully. I like the vibe quite a bit. All right, so you and I have gotten to know each other late in 2019. We're recording this at the end of 2019, which is, even when I say that, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like we're here. We're at the end of this year. It feels surreal, and yet I think we all do that to ourselves. Like, where did the time go? How did we get here? But when we look back, we look at the amazing things that have happened in a year, in a month, or in a lunar cycle. I love to play with the lunar cycle, and especially when we have our own business, we look at some of the incredible people who come into our lives, and we've just had the privilege of serving them. And you're one of those people, Rebecca. You came into my life a few months back. You joined one of my courses, Sellout, and I just saw you as a superstar in there. Like, you showed up, you asked great questions, you did the work, your energy was very strong. And then I've had the pleasure of supporting you one-on-one and just really watching the way that you move. And the reason why I even wanted to do that work with you, because I'm very discerning about who I work with at that level, because I knew you're a master at your craft. And, some of the things that we've been working on together are newer for you, because that's just it. We're always learning something. But your craft was so dialed in and so on point that I said, oh my gosh, I want to help you get it out there in a bigger way. So why don't you tell everyone, what is that craft of yours? What is that magic that you do in the world?
Well, thank you so much for your kind words, Jenny. It's definitely been an amazing fall working together with you, and you've guided me a lot along the way, and I am eternally grateful for that. But I am a speech-language pathologist, and I have, over the course of my career, come to specialize primarily in working with children on the autism spectrum. I also have experience working with other children and other sorts of diagnoses, and I also have an interest in mindfulness. So one of my social media posts every Monday, I do a Mindful Monday. So I utilize mindfulness techniques with my students. I also have a big interest in executive functioning skills, which closely correlates to autism spectrum disorders. It's one of the areas that is impacted by that diagnosis, but it also impacts children with ADHD as well. So I also have some experience and interest in working with children with ADHD as well.
Mm-hmm. And how did you discover that this was the work you were meant to do?
Okay, so that's kind of like a two-parted story. So I stumbled into the field of speech-language pathology first, and then found the field of autism after I had started my studies as a speech-language pathologist. So growing up, all I ever wanted to be was an actress. I wanted to be a Broadway star. It was all I ever wanted to do, and I joked that I came out of the womb an actor. So I've been doing plays since I was 5. But as I got into college, I realized I wanted my degree to be in something I could guarantee make money in as my fallback plan, So I went to a local community college here in New York, and I was a liberal arts major, so I could kind of like get a flavor of all the different things. And I took a class called The Speaking Voice. And that touched on a lot of the concepts that the field of speech-language pathology deals with. And one of the topics for that course was the phonetic alphabet. And while everyone else in my college class was groaning and complaining, I was like, "Ooh, I love the phonetic alphabet. This is so cool." And at the same time, my nephew, who's now 21, he was about 2.5 and not speaking. And he was starting to go through the early intervention process. So now in 2 areas of my life, I've now heard of the field of speech-language pathology for the first time. One in a professional realm and the other in a personal realm. And I knew that the time that my family would hear my nephew speak for the first time would mean the world to us. And if I could do that for just even one other family, then my life will have meant something. And that was just what did it for me, that I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to major in. And I went for it.
And you went for it. Yeah, you absolutely went for it. And so walk us through, okay, so, many people who are listening to the show are still kind of figuring out what their thing is, or they might be going through a transition. Sometimes we have this one area that we've been rocking it in, and then we kind of just feel like, I feel like I'm complete there. There's something else coming through, another way that I want to serve. But I always like to go back when I'm talking to a guest and say, well, okay, so once you figured this thing out, that this is the thing I want to do, how did you then go about creating a career around it? What were your steps? Who employed you first? Or did you go out on your own first? How did that all happen?
Well, I think with my particular field, it actually the path is kind of laid out for you. Once you choose to do that, there's kind of like one well-tread path that you go down. So you have to get your undergraduate degree in communication disorders. And what's interesting is the field of audiology and speech-language pathology are the same undergraduate program. So you actually are getting the foundation for either profession. So then after you get your bachelor's as a communication disorders major, you go on and get your master's in speech-language pathology. And then you have to do, when I was there, it was 425 clinical hours. So that's just as an undergrad. And part of that is also student teaching. So where I got placed to do my student teaching was what led me to the field of autism, basically. So it kind of just, the universe put it in my lap, so to speak. So I was placed at this school that was called the Children's Annex at the time. Now it's the Center for Spectrum Services, and I've spent a lot of my career employed by them. And that's where I did my student teaching, and then I stayed as an employee after that. So I think that's the case for a lot of speech pathologists, is they kind of, through their experience of their practicums while they're working on their masters, they make connections and get a job that way. Or they find a certain practicum that they really resonate with, and then they know to apply for that sort of position, because there's a huge scope of practice in my field of what you can actually do. So what I'm doing is really like a niche. It's really specialized. I'm working specifically with children with autism. Yeah. And so as I was going through my career, I'm also kind of like a personal development junkie, so to speak. And I started and I loved working. I worked in an agency for a while doing early intervention and preschool services. And a lot of that work is in the home, working directly with families. And especially with early intervention, you are coaching the parents to do what you do when you leave. There were some counties that they wouldn't even let you bring your own materials in because they wanted you to show the families how they can do what you do with everything they already have. They don't want you to bring in all these toys and take them with you, and then the family's like, well, what am I going to do? So I really loved that aspect of the early intervention program. And I realized that as children get older, especially in the field of autism, the need for the family support is still there, but the resources and the support that the community is able to provide is lacking. It's just an area where we as a society need to kind of continue to grow and build upon, in my opinion. But so as I was taking these personal development courses online, I realized, oh my gosh, this platform would work so great as a parent and family training platform for families with children with autism. And that's kind of what sparked with the genesis of where I am right now, of the idea.
Yeah, it's such a great journey to go back and look at, what were those points, and like you got placed at that particular facility, and that opened you up to this whole area that, oh my gosh, this is what you were meant to do. And there's always these, I always say, like, the universe is always conspiring in our behalf, even when it doesn't always feel like that. It's true, and we see it when we look backwards. It's like, oh, okay, I get it now, I get it. And then, boom, your personal development love showed you, wait, there's this whole other way that we could be connecting with this community, with these families who are underserved, who need the support, the, kind of powers that be haven't gotten the memo, or they just have too many other things on their plate. So when we are entrepreneurial in nature, and when we have been given this assignment, once it becomes clear where we could really step up and serve, it is our job to do that, or to ensure, it gets handled someplace else. I mean, that was me when I remember years back, gosh, I was seeing it very much for many years, but it was in 2015 that I finally said, oh, I guess I'm the one who's going to do that. I guess I'm going to stop waiting. I kept waiting, like, someone's going to do that. They're going to get that handled. And it was in the coaching industry, really seeing a need for a training school that would not only teach amazing coaches how to coach, like what is that as a craft, but also how to have a business doing that. And that's just it. It's like you saw, oh wait, there's this need, there's a gap, and oh, I can feel that. And it's a journey, right? It doesn't happen overnight. But you and I have been working together on, really taking your message online. All right. So that's the work that we've been focusing on. So I'd love for you to just talk about kind of what that, what you have found, like a little bit about your methodology and how you're bringing this to the online space, essentially, because you've got something that you're going to be leading starting in early 2020 for families who are looking for the support. And it's essentially for, helping their children learn to talk and be confident in that.
Yes. So there's a common diagnosis that co-occurs with autism called apraxia. And what apraxia is, it's a motor planning disorder. So the way that I often describe it to parents or to people in layman's terms, it's like your brain's GPS has a lot of detours on the route. So the brain isn't sending you on the shortest distance from point A to point B to tell your mouth how to talk and produce speech, or your child's mouth. It's got all of these detours set up, which makes it really hard for a child to know how to make their mouth move so that they can produce speech sounds on command. So oftentimes, in my experience, the kids that I saw on my caseload that were struggling to speak, oftentimes it was because they had a diagnosis of apraxia. Not always, but often. And over the years, I have formalized this system, this approach to treating these children that, as I used it with child after child in my therapy room, I found that they were all responding really, really well to it. And it started with, back in that student teaching placement that led me to autism, my supervisor showed me a couple of the hand cues that she used to prompt speech sounds. And they're basically just, you place your hand in different spots on your face to prompt a certain sound. And so I kind of took the few hand cues that she showed me and I expanded it to all of the speech sounds and formalized it based on the principles of how sounds are organized in your brain and how we produce sounds. And I kind of created this whole hand cue system. Mm-hmm. And with that, over the years, I figured out the formula of the therapy approach that you need to use these hand cues within that really leads to the child talking. Mm. Yeah, so it's really so exciting when I start with the child and they can't speak at all, and then I'm literally building their speech sound by sound. And when I say sound by sound, I mean like, okay, we're starting with the vowel O, and now let's learn E, and now let's learn the vowel A, and okay, now let's learn how to say B. Now let's put those two sounds together. And it literally is sound by sound like that at first for some of these kids. Mm-hmm. But then over time, and it's a different time frame for everybody, for each child, but over time, all of a sudden, things start to click. The brain's natural ability starts to take over, and you see progress start to happen a little more quickly. And then they start to be able to actually say words and have speech, and it's really exciting. So what I have found with this approach is the kids that have had the best success are the ones that I've been able to train their classroom teachers and their paraprofessionals to get on board and to learn how to use the sounds and to do the speech drills in the classroom, and also their parents. So I've utilized the iPads that the children have that they take between school and home, and I'll record videos of myself demonstrating the hand cues for the parents so that they can learn how to do it. And prior to that, before we had iPads, I actually got out my digital video camera and made a video of myself with all the hand cues and sent it home on DVD form. So I've been doing a form of this in my actual practice for the kids on my caseload for a while now, but now I'm just bringing it to the online space. I just ran a live training that had like a 3-day follow-up private Facebook group where I had additional trainings and videos that happened in that Facebook group. So that's over. It might be, I'm thinking I'm probably going to package that somehow so people can get access to it somehow in the future. Right. Yeah. But for right now, what I'm building and planning to release in January is a 14-week online group coaching program where I actually not just teach the families how to use the hand cues, but teach them how to set up a therapy system that they can deliver for themselves and their child in their own home. Yeah, it's so good. And because that's what I love about, again, you obviously are a master of your craft. You figured out what works. You've applied it to so many kids. It's impacted families. I want to talk more about that. But when you realize that your work is meant to touch more lives than only in your local geographic area, it's wonderful to have humans, in person to work with. It's a different feeling, honestly, than connecting digitally. They're both powerful, but they're different. There's a different energy that goes on and gets transmuted in a room versus like through a screen. The transformation can happen in either place. When you have that realization, like I have something and I want to share it in a broader way, that's what's happening. So for everyone listening right now, I want you either, if this is about you, like one of your children would benefit from Rebecca's approach, or someone in your life. So much of what we do as women is that we share things that we hear about. You're like, oh my gosh, have you heard about this thing? Like, this is the thing we were just talking about. You need to check this out. So please share this episode with someone in your life who needs this help. I have a lot of, lots of different types of women on the show. And I think one of the great things we can do is to share someone's work. And so I'm asking everyone to share this episode out with someone in your life, put it on social media, and the person who is meant to receive it or the people who are meant to see it will. And so, Rebecca, if someone is tuning in right now and they're like, oh my gosh, we want to be a part of that, what's the best next step they can take
to connect with you and learn more about your upcoming online group coaching program?
Well, my website, mindshaperslp.com, that's the name of my business, is Mindshaper SLP. I don't think we've said that yet. But my website, mindshaperslp.com, is under construction, so that will be coming soon. So right now, the best way to find me and connect with me is on Facebook or Instagram. So Instagram /MindshaperSLP or Facebook.com/MindshaperSLP, and you can find me. I think if you also Google my full name, Rebecca Robbins, or not Google, on Facebook, search my full name, then my Mindshaper page will come up as well. That's really the best way to connect with me. I put out weekly content. I do Mindful Mondays, Tip of the Day Tuesday, where I put out a video that just gives a little helpful tip that hopefully you can employ right away. And then Find It Out Fridays, which is more of like an educational sort of video that just is educating about some aspect of speech or language. And right now, most of my content is geared towards this hand cue system and this program and little tips and tricks of how to implement it with your child who's minimally verbal or maybe even nonverbal.
Yeah, perfect. And then you're filling, just you and I had talked about it, you're filling your program through really application, a connection with you. So for those who want to be in your early 2020 cohort for this program, how do you want, I know we're going to link up that opportunity to have a call with you on our page, right?
Yes. So I am going to be capping enrollment for this program. And so the only way to get in is to actually set up an interview with me. And so if we're going to put the link, the Calendly
on my page,
link, for you to go ahead and sign up for an appointment to schedule an interview with me. And basically, I'll just go through you explaining what your child's current skills are and what you're experiencing with your child. And then I just describe what the program is, and we decide if it's a best fit, because I really want everyone that's in the program to be successful, because I do not take your child's ability to talk lightly. So it's important for me that I'm going to have people on board that their child feels like the right fit, and it feels like the right fit for them as a parent as well.
Yeah, perfect. So you go to jennyfennig.com, you can click on the blog and podcast link, and then just search for Rebecca. Just type Rebecca in, and this episode will come. I'm trying to think, have we had any other Rebeccas on? This will be one of the first ones you see if we've had other Rebeccas. We could have, it's been, almost 250 episodes now, which blows my mind.
Wow.
It'll be right up there at the top, and you'll be able to find the links that we've just shared with you. Okay, so what is it like when, Rebecca, what does it do for a family? What have you witnessed for a family when their child learns to talk? Because I imagine, there's maybe some frustration before, or some concern, some fear. What are those, when you see the results, on the other side, what are some of those just the experience of watching that, within the child and within the structure of the family when they learn this?
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of the training I've been doing with the parents so far, because of just the structure of working in the school system mostly, has been remotely. So me recording a video of myself, or writing in a home communication notebook, or talking on the phone. So I get to see how the child reacts more so than how the parents are. Of course, the parents always express their gratitude and their joy in being able to help their child talk and hear their child's voice for the first time. But the look in the child's eyes when they're able to say a word for the first time is, you can just see the sense of pride that they have about them, and the smile on their face, and that's the thing that, brings tears to my eyes. When I've been working with a child for like weeks and weeks and months sometimes on how to say a certain sound, and all of a sudden they get it, and I'm like, oh, you did it! And you see the look on their face too, and I'm like, do it again, and just the joy and excitement that comes from that moment. It's definitely a marathon and it's not a sprint, but when those moments happen, it is like the most rewarding experience for everybody.
I can imagine. I mean, I have 3 kids, and when they say the word, you're just like, but you can imagine, like, it's hard to remember when we were there. It's like, do you really remember saying your first word? I don't. But you see it all the time. Like, you witness this, you facilitate this, and again, have been doing it, and you're incredible, in-person work. I know you lead in-person groups, and now really bringing your work to the internet and realizing, gosh, there's so many people who need your help, and you're going to do it. Like, I know that about you. You're committed. And what's interesting is that, your initial love was performing and being an actress and being on Broadway, but you have this way about you, and you're doing it now. Like, you're creating videos, you've got your back, your screen, you're very emotive, and you have this energy to you, and like, that's what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone has like, acting bones inside of them, but if you are willing to see this as this fun adventure, I'm going to get up there, and sometimes I'm going to make a fool out of myself, right? The screen's going to fall, I'm going to fall off the stage, who knows who's going to show up in the audience, what's going to happen when I go live. I mean, for many people, they won't do a video, or they won't press play for a live stream because they're so freaked out about what's going to happen. But when no matter what, you're going to be able to handle it. Like, it's fine. So how is that for you? Because you're really great with videos. Is there like a certain skill? Is this just something you say to yourself? Like, any kind of tips for our listeners to bring some of that energy into, especially with video, because you really do great with that.
Oh, well, thank you. I think it's the acting background that definitely helps me. So I'm still a full-time company member of a local semi-professional group by me. So I'm acting and participating in like 4 or 5 productions a year. But so I have a lot of experience, because when you're on stage and you've got 50 faces looking at you like this, and like, someone drops a line, or the phone rings and the phone wasn't supposed to ring, or, you get used to kind of like dealing with what comes up in the moment. And I think having that experience helps me have that confidence to deal with whatever happens in the moment. But I do have to say that my videos that I put out, they are not live. They are taped. So that helped, because I know that I can have as many takes as possible. So that has been helpful for me starting out, because it is still new for me and everything. So I wouldn't want to have it, something happen with my technology in the middle of my live stream, and I don't know it, and everyone's watching a black screen. Like, that's the sort of stuff that happens to me. So I kind of ensure that I can control at least that part of it, and I record my videos myself at home. I use my iPhone. I use my iMovie app on my iPhone to edit them together. It's actually a lot easier than it looks. And I've always just kind of been the type of person that just like dives in and figures it out. But I guess the biggest advice I could say is just do it anyway. You can be afraid, and you can be nervous, and do it anyway. And what's the worst that can happen? Because let me tell you, honestly, sometimes I put these videos out, especially in the beginning, and the only people that saw them were my mom and my boyfriend and my 2 best friends, Totally. So if you can't, flop around in front of them, who can you?
Absolutely.
And the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Absolutely. And you have to be willing to begin. It's like, just get in the freaking game, get on the field. I see it with my kids who are, they play various sports, and it was interesting. My middle son, I've got three kids, Sean, Luke, and Kate. So Luke's in the middle, and he's been playing hockey for many years. He's like really good, like really good hockey player. I mean, he's athletic. He can kind of show up for many things, and he's good at it. Some people are gifted with that. That's one of his gifts. He became like baseball. He's like got that nailed. This is his first season playing baseball. I'm like, he's got it. Like, he's going, he's doing his thing. And this year, my husband signed them both up for basketball. My oldest wanted to play. He played last season. And Luke was like, I don't know. And I was a mother. I'm like, is he, because he's got enough on his plate? He's not. And then what I felt like it might have been was that he was nervous that he didn't really understand the game. He didn't understand the game that much. Like, he'd done a camp over the summer and a couple of summers in a row, and he's done well there. He's just, the game itself is newer to him. He can understand shooting and stuff like that. But Steven he's Mr. Sports. I kind of learned, I'm like, he knows what he's doing. Like, that's his industry. He like freaking lives and breathes it. My husband. But we just were I was at their first game. I missed the first one because my dear cat was not well at that point. But I caught the next one, and they're actually on the same team. Sean and Luke are on the same team. I think this might be the last time they can do it because of the age gap. Luke freaking rocked the house out there. I mean, they were out there at the same time once, like, between the two of them, they scored like 11 points. And, he got it because he was just willing to show up. He was willing, what, maybe you are, quote, the worst one on the team. Like, who really cares? Like, the deal is just get in the game and have fun. Have fun with it, because that's really what it's about. It's not who won and how many points and all that. It's like, yeah, those are interesting little details, but did you have a good time? Did you feel like you did your best, with the information that you had? And, do you want to do it again? Do you want to do it again and kind of maybe try a new skill or do something else? And so that's what I want everyone to take away from this episode is, do it anyway. Just get out there. Give it a go. When you have a craft that you're passionate about, like Rebecca, then how can you get it out there in a bigger way? Ask yourself, how can I get this out there in a bigger way? Is the way what I'm doing now, can I systematize it a bit better? Can I run it so that it's just kind of this ongoing thing? Like, there's always ways, and that's some of the stuff we've been working on, to kind of tighten up your operation, get it out there in a bigger way, ensure that you're not burning out, ensure that you're getting, adequately compensated. Like, all of these things need to be taken into account. And I think, that's something I want our listeners to really, really vibe into. Right? Is that every guest on here has like their own craft. And that's what I love. And I'm really going to be looking at that more in 2020 is like focusing on the craft. That's our magic, is our craft. And I know that I work with women who are experts at their craft. Like, they're so good at it. Even if you're earlier on to like building a business around the craft, maybe you've been doing the craft within an institution, within some organization, someone's, other places been paying you. You've been doing it like for a long time, but maybe you've had the call to become an entrepreneur or to really double down on the business because it's just kind of been like doing its thing, but you haven't given it tons of energy and attention because you just had other things on your plate and you didn't quite know what you didn't know, right? And so can we celebrate being masters of our craft and say, hey, I know a lot more people can be touched by this craft, and I'm going to go on that road, and I'm going to have fun. And I'm okay that I don't know all of the answers, and I'm going to get support around that. And there's ways I can get support. And that's what you've realized about your journey, Rebecca. Well, I want to celebrate you. I want to just really honor the work that you're doing. You're changing the lives of these children, these families. I know there are so many people listening to this episode right now who need your help, or their friends need your help. So thanks everybody for passing this along. I want to know, Rebecca, what is the gutsiest move you've ever made, and how does it inspire your life and work today?
Well, the gutsiest move I've ever made was to submit my resignation to the school district that I was employed with in August of this past year. And my plan was to stay there at least another year before I made the leap into full-time entrepreneurship, but they had moved me to another school, and it was starting to get painful not to do this, what I'm doing now, and I just took that move that I wasn't happy about as a sign from the universe that it was time, and I just trusted that when I thought about doing it, I literally had like this electric feeling in my body that like, I'm going to do this, like it's going to work. And I just trusted in that feeling with maybe like, not a huge amount of money saved up in the bank account, and just went for it. And I'm living it right now. I'm living my gutsiest move right now. And some days it's like, what did I do? And other days it's like, oh my gosh, I am so happy that I made this choice. And that's most days, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yes.
And that is most days. And it's scary and it's hard in some ways, and it's amazing and exhilarating in others. But it's, it's all mine. So because of that, like, I'm motivated to show up every day. And it means so much to me, and so much to me to make it work and to help as many families as possible, because these 1 in 58 children with autism are going to be 1 in 58 adults with autism one day. And the more that I can do to help when these children are still kids, the better chance that they can grow up and have independent, productive, and full life as adults. So
great. It's a great answer. And as we're talking about children, mine just cruised in. I told Rebecca, Kate, say hi.
Hi, Kate.
Cruised in. Say hi. Hold on, I'm still talking to Rebecca. This is real life. Yeah. Okay. Can I be with you in 2 minutes? This is real life. Get gutsy, listeners. Okay. Thank you. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Thank you. Okay. I'm not even going to edit that out, because that is real freaking life. That is real life right there. And just also a message for everyone, no matter what you got, we all have different kinds of lives going on. Like, figure it out. It's just like, do it anyway. You got a full plate, do it anyway. Like, you'll work it out. And that was so good what you said, Rebecca. And I didn't realize it was 1 to 58. So 1 in 58 kids have autism.
Yeah, I think that's the latest statistics of 1 in 58 births.
1 in 58 births.
That is that's a really
big population who needs your help. Big population. So it was like, and the feeling that you had is like that energy just pulled you forward. And I want to make that a final point, and then we will end this fabulous conversation today. We can plan and have it all dialed in and be like, yeah, and so I was going to quit, a year from now, and it's going to be all organized and stuff, and have a certain amount of money in the bank. It's going to be really great. And then life just does not work out like that a lot of times, where this thought is staying there because you're reassigned, or this environment is like really toxic, or your family situation changes, or, it's like fill in the freaking blanks. What I have known from my own journey and from coaching a lot of clients through the years is your body does not lie. Your body will tell you, and you'll get these feelings inside of you that say, you got to go. You got to go. You can't wait anymore. And we can try to kind of like push those things away. And trust me, I was the queen of that in the past. Or we can surrender. And listen, I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy. And thank you for your honesty around that, Rebecca. You're going to have those days going, WTF did I just do? Like, what? Okay, well, it was kind of bad before, but like I could have kept doing it, It was like fine, because I got the every 2 week day text, and I got the, you start kind of like glamorizing and romanticizing the past, but then you knew that you couldn't stay. And so, y'all, some of you are in it right now. Others of you, you're on the other side of it, and you know how that feels. I coached a lot of clients over that divide. So I totally just give everybody out there lots of love who might be dealing with it. What you said, Rebecca, was I had this electric feeling in my body. I had this electric feeling in my body. And so let us all celebrate that electric feeling that we get in our body when we know something is right. When we know something is right, even though it also might be scary. We know it's right. And so can we be pulled forward by that electric energy that is right, and not let the fear keep us in a place that we've outgrown.
Yeah. And like what I kind of said to myself too was like, what's the worst that can happen? I'll have to like move out of my apartment and live with my mom. That's okay. That's not so bad.
That's exactly what we do. Worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario.
And kind of made it into like something like, oh, that's not so bad. And that kind of helps get over that fear and to like take the gulp and do it anyway too. That helped me at least.
Do it anyway. Do it anyway, baby. Well, thank you so much for being here to share your story, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me.
Served many people with this message. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. The theme for today, do it anyway. This is Jenny Fennig. I look forward to connecting with you all again very soon.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Get Gutsy with Jenny Fennig. Gutsy leaders unite and ignite.